Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law she can't expect her kids to benefit from me being their aunt when she has always treated me badly and kept me out? I married my husband 4 years ago and I have known him for years. He has an older sister who does not like me. My crime? Her husband got a little too flirty with me when my husband introduced us all, and he had to be told to back off. But not just me, but my husband too. Of course, I was the cheap woman trying to steal her man. The fact that I never did anything to encourage it and actively told him to stop and walked away wasn't enough. It also wasn't an isolated thing with him, but my husband intervened to make sure he knew we meant business. She has 3 kids with a husband, and ever since that day we met, she has kept me at arm's length with her kids. And she's rude, very rude, has also treated me in very childish ways. But it's whatever. I won't force myself into a place I'm not wanted. I am kind to the kids, but she never wants me spending time with them or talking too much with them. But now she's jealous because my sister's children are close to me, and my husband and I spoil them since I have fertility issues and might never get to be a mom. She called my husband out first, and he told her that her kids were welcome, but he wasn't going to take money we earned together and tell me I need to stay home or not speak to her kids while they're with him/us. She then confronted me and accused me of treating her children badly. I told her she can't treat me badly, keep me out of her kids' lives, and expect them to benefit from me being their aunt. I told her I would love to spoil her kids too, but if I'm not welcome, then I can't. She said I was taking our issues out on her kids. Maybe I said things wrong here. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I'm gonna say everyone sucks here. I think sister-in-law's pretty obvious on your part. I realize she's forcing this. But what I don't hear here is your husband discussing this with her or with her husband and just cutting her out of the discussion. This is coming from a petty dispute between you two. And for some reason, neither husband has gotten involved to try to work this out, according to what you have shared here. So from that level, I don't think you've done enough to resolve this for the kids. You are both making the kids suffer because of your own issues with each other. Have your husband and hers had an active involvement in either prolonging this or fixing it? My husband tried to fix things, but she thinks I'm a cheap woman out to steal her husband. After that, he could barely look at her when she called me that. Not the a-hole, but those kids don't deserve to be left out because their mom is like this. I'd find a way to do stuff for them in spite of their mom. I would hate for them to ever think you just didn't care for them. How would I do that without going against her boundaries? They are kids, even if it means them being left out. Anything outside of that, she could say I was kidnapping her kids. Not the a-hole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. To be fair, sister-in-law's kids aren't winning any prizes because of their mom. I know, and that's really sad. But mom is the blocker to the kids having a relationship and all the benefits that come with that. Not the a-hole. So she wants her money for her kids, but doesn't want you around, is rude, and actively works against her kids having a relationship with you. She's an entitled a-hole, and she has only herself to blame. Another human who decided to walk in shadow. The brother-in-law has to wear some of the blame too. I don't actually think the brother-in-law's to blame for the way sister-in-law is treating OP. Sister-in-law made a choice to blame OP and take out her frustration on OP instead of placing the blame where it's due. For the record, brother-in-law's awful, and what he did was awful. Sister-in-law's equally awful for making OP the scapegoat. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to offer my spare room to my cousin, who was recently kicked out of her parents' home for being gay? Context. Rebecca, 32, female, recently came out to her mother, 50s or 60s female, and it didn't go well. Her mother harbors strong homophobic beliefs, so I, 30 male, wasn't surprised that she reacted poorly. I was surprised, however, at how badly her mother took the news. To make a long story short, her mother kicked Rebecca out and all but disowned her. This happened last Saturday. The dispute. This afternoon, Rebecca called me to ask if she could stay in my guest room until she figures her situation out. I spent the day mulling it over, but ultimately decided to decline the request. Here's a summary of why. I'm not close to Rebecca. In fact, if anything, we have somewhat of a strained relationship. As we were rather close to age, we were often pitted against each other in terms of achievements and progress by various members of our extended family. As I grew up, I mellowed out, content to live life on my own terms. Rebecca, however, always took every opportunity to tear me down. Her latest slew of attacks against me involving her demeaning my job and claiming that my job added no value to society. I have no faith that Rebecca will figure anything out within anything remotely resembling a reasonable time frame. She's not exactly a functional adult. She's on her third degree after dropping out of her first two. She can't hold down a job, even the simplest part-time ones. As far as I'm aware, she's been unemployed for almost 2 years at this point. Rebecca has relied entirely on her parents for almost every facet of her life, be it having meals cooked for her, the cleaning, and ironing of her clothes, everything. Rebecca is very much a child despite her age. I'm not Rebecca's only option. Several of my cousins have their own places, even if they're just renting. Rebecca can go stay at theirs until she figures her situation out. And, unlike me, my cousins actually have a relationship with Rebecca and think fondly of her. The fallout. While I didn't expect Rebecca to be happy with my decision, I didn't anticipate her blowing up at me either. She called me selfish, that I took family for granted, and even attempted to label me as a homophobic. Like I said above, I was never that fond of Rebecca, so her words did not bother me all too much. What did hurt me were the words of some of my other cousins who I do care about, also accusing me of being inconsiderate. They say that as I'm the only one of my cousins who own my own place, and that I have an unused room, I should be offering that room to Rebecca. I don't know. Should I? How much do you owe family, even if you don't like that family? Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Rebecca's 32 years old, still living off her parents. Whoever takes her in will have a permanent house guest. Not roommate, house guest. Of course, the cousins want you to take her in. That way they don't have to. I'm surprised more people haven't mentioned her age. A 32-year-old getting kicked out of home and wanting someone else to support her? Hard pass. Right, she's accustomed to doing absolutely no adulting. Hasn't worked in 2 years. Whomever takes her in will need a whole skateboard, helmet, stick of dynamite / Looney Tunes Acme kit to get her out of their house. Not the a-hole. Well, the reason she got kicked out sucks. Rebecca's an a-hole who just so happens to be gay. It's your home, and based on your reasons listed and the information provided, I can't say you're in the wrong for what you did. Could it be seen as insensitive? Yes, and I do see it like that, as I'm a big proponent of supporting LGBT people as one myself. But Rebecca has seemingly done little to earn such aid, and based on your description of how she lived with her parents, I wouldn't make her my roommate either. Her being family shouldn't give her the right to be an a-hole and freeloader in your home. I tend to think that the LGBT stuff is irrelevant here. It is a condition that caused her need, but it is not a cause for OP's denial of meeting that need. OP is being perfectly reasonable in saying no to Rebecca. Living with someone requires a relationship with a level of trust and respect that she and Rebecca do not share. While being sensitive to the fact that Rebecca just came out is important, it does not alter the fact that OP and Rebecca do not have the established relationship. That would make living together even a moderately okay idea. How much do you owe family? Well, when the family is a cousin who has been the a-hole to you for years, I'd say you owe her a big, fat 0. You are not the a-hole, and I hope for your sake that your other cousins realize it. It sounds as if they're mad at you, mostly because they might now have to step up themselves and help take care of her, and they clearly don't want to. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not going to my sister's baby shower because it was on my birthday? I, 22 female, turned 22 last month. I had plans for my birthday. My fiancé and I planned to go to an art museum in a neighboring city, then afterwards go to a buffet restaurant along with some friends. We organized this a couple of months in advance. My sister Lola, 31 female, is pregnant with her 4th child, and for some reason, she decided to host the baby shower on my birthday. I didn't know until she sent out the email invites around 3 weeks before the day. I messaged Lola and told her that I'm sorry, but the shower's on my birthday, and I already made plans to celebrate my birthday. I don't know if Lola just forgot when my birthday was, which I doubt because our birthdays are 10 days apart. But she got really defensive and passive-aggressively said that it's fine that I don't prioritize family. She told me I'm being selfish. Lola told our parents about it and they got mad at me and demanded that I cancel my plans to go to the baby shower and implied that my unborn nibbling will hate me if I don't. I ended up not going to the shower and everyone is royally angry with me. Lola has me blocked and everything, and my parents are demanding that I apologize to her. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You cancel plans for the first baby, but I'm surprised the fourth child even gets a baby shower. She should have plenty of baby supplies from the first three, so this just sounds like canvassing for free diapers. I feel it's okay to have a baby shower for the fourth, if the first three are the same gender and this one isn't. But sister is definitely entitled to demand sister to change her birthday plans for a lame baby shower. Not the a-hole. Why can't the kids all wear the same clothes as infants? It doesn't really matter at that age. Yeah, that's true. But from reading this post, I bet the sister just wanted the attention. Not the a-hole. Your sister had 22 years notice not to book that date, but I guess she doesn't prioritize family. This, accusing you of the very thing that she did and your parents supporting? I'm getting golden child vibes. Not the a-hole, but your sister is. Pay her no mind, and good on you for sticking with your plans. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she can't live with me or stay with me? I'm 18 female. I'm a high school senior who moved out of my parents' house a week after my 18th birthday and who does not plan to move back in. Ever. My sister is 16. And since we were little kids, our parents have pushed the idea that sisters are friends and that your sister is the person you put before all other friends. And you do whatever they need from you. This always ended up very one-sided. With me needing to bring her with me when she wanted to come, me needing to let her sleep in my room and sometimes my bed when she had bad dreams, me missing out on a field trip because my sister fell sick that day and couldn't go on hers, me needing to take her to prom with me because she wanted to go. Stuff like that is the norm for us. She adores me, no doubt about it. But I do not think of her as a friend and I do not like her very much. She's very bad at being a friend, and not just to me. She's selfish and always wants to do stuff she likes, and doesn't take the time to do stuff others want to do, even though she expects you to do her stuff. We don't have common interests either. For years, I complained to my parents about it, how I felt like it was unfair that I had to prioritize my sister over my actual friends. They sent me to therapy and told me she's my best friend. They grounded me once because I told them my sister was not my friend and she wasn't doing anything for me, yet I had to do stuff for her. This is why I moved out. My sister told me she'll move in with me in 2 more years, and she'll stay with me overnight sometimes. She asked about decorating her room at my place. She doesn't have a room. I told her as much, and I told her we would not be living together again, and she was not allowed to spend the night. She asked why, and I said I ran away from home, and she wanted to know why. I told her life will be very different now. She wanted to know if I would drive her to a Christmas fair her school is taking part in, and I said no. I told her she couldn't use me anymore. She brought up staying overnight again, and I made it very clear that would never happen, and she cried and called me mean. Then my parents tried to reach me, but I blocked them when I moved out. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You are setting boundaries now that you're an adult. Good for you. It really sucks that the parents have essentially destroyed any resemblance of an actual sibling relationship that Opie and her sister could have had by pushing them so hard. Not the a-hole. Your sister doesn't understand because just as you've been raised to cater to her, she's been raised to expect it. She doesn't know anything else. Show her something else. You can bask in your newfound freedom without cutting your family completely off. Remember, you have full autonomy now. You can dictate how much you'll do. You can end a conversation. You set the rules of your home. You can train them all in how to deal with you. I agree/disagree with this assessment. I would like to think that parents and little sister will have the golden light bulb go off and realize what has been allowed to happen. However, I live in the real world and know it won't. At least not for a very long time, with multiple attempts by both parents and little sister to ignore the boundaries and walk all over OP. The family needs to be cut off until they realize that OP is no longer the third parent in this relationship. Giving any leeway will result in them boundary stomping OP over and over again. The only other option I can think of is to have one very frank discussion with the entire family where OP comes right out and says, "My entire life has been spent being her caregiver, and you have ignored every attempt I have made to rectify the situation. Heretofore, I will no longer babysit, provide transportation, provide companionship/devote all my free time to raising your daughter. You may ask me to, but you should expect me to say no and have alternate arrangements." And as for you, sister, it is high time you get your own life and stop co-opting mine. You will not be living with me. You may not even be allowed to stay overnight if you are unable to comprehend that I am not willing to spend all my life taking care of you. You may not be in my life at all, depending on how well you adhere to my boundaries. You don't have to like it, but you will stop walking all over me, or you will all be put in a time out until such time as I feel you might respect me, and then walk away before they can argue. I wish hope you well, but don't foresee the parents realizing how awful they have been.